And then I can pull out the Nintendo, and it goes well with the crowd. I got a lot of tips from people who wouldn't typically tip. If it was just a regular Uber ride, I wouldn't have gotten a tip. But I know I'm pulling out tips from these people who are just genuinely surprised and happy, and that's the funnest part. Thanks for tuning back in to another episode of Wheel Talk. Just wanted to talk about the $1,000 challenge and how my week went. So right now I'm headed home. I'm like 15 minutes away from home. It's been a long day. I've been going since 3:30, and it's like 2:15 right now. And I made like $330 today on Friday. And for the week I've made like $1,002. So I could have been home by like 1:40, but I was like, I really wanted to hit that $1,000 mark, and I was like, I'm not gonna rely on tips to get me to that $1,000 mark. Basically, I made $1,002, and I feel good about that. It was a struggle this week. It was a struggle staying motivated. This week is the week that I had went home, and I didn't get to really see my kids because they were all asleep when I had gotten home that day. But still, just being able to be home, see my wife, my dogs, be home, it was good. And from that, I ended up going back to my regular day job and back to my same routine of doing Uber and Lyft, and then after I'm done with my regular job. And so, yeah, pretty much just checking in. This is week 2 of the $1,000 challenge, and to be honest, I think this is going to be a month challenge because once I seen that tax bill that's due in February, that just sucked. So what I'm going to do with this $1,000 that I made right now is I'm still going to put it towards that credit card that's going to charge the interest. So I'll do that, and so after that it'll be like $650 left on that card. And then I don't even know the date. It'll be probably around next Friday, or probably midweek next week. I'll have my next paycheck, and that should be the fat one where I'll pay off the rest of the $650 while continuing to earn another $1,000 for week 3 of the $1,000 challenge. And on top of that, I'll use the money that I was going to use to pay off a different credit card that I use for my bills. I'm going to use that to pay the tax, my property taxes, because there is a penalty it's like a 10% penalty if you don't pay that on time. So I'm going to pay that. I still need to make sure there's enough left, but whatever is left from that, so it's like $1,800. I'm expecting probably like 4,500. So minus 2,000 is 2,500, and then I'll put the rest of the $1,500 towards that credit card that I use for my bills. And then next week when I work the full week, that'll be another $1,000 that I can put towards that debt. And probably on week 4 I'll be done with catching up on credit cards, property taxes, and then around I think it's the first week of March, like the 1st or the 15th of March is when I get my bonus. So I can't wait till that happens. So that's probably another 2 weeks until I get that. And then I'll use that to pay off one whole big personal loan that has a high interest rate of 25%. I had mentioned this in a previous video. Anyways, I'll pay off that entire thing, and then I'll go and then I'll start tackling my last big personal loan, which at the rate I'm going, it might be paid off by April, May. And this is paying off this is I don't even want to talk about it, but it's a lot of money that I'm paying off. And yeah, pretty much just I'm not trying to get back into this cycle of debt. That was a mistake on my behalf, and I'm definitely paying for it now. But I got to do what I got to do, and the situation was what it was, and yeah, basically that's how things are going. Also, this Sunday, so I've worked 5 days, Monday through Friday, 2 jobs, but I need 2 days of a break. I need Saturday and Sunday as a break, but it's tempting to work on Sunday because it's Super Bowl Sunday, and I think it's going to be super busy where I might, in one day, I could potentially make like $600 if it's as busy as it. So a few years back, New Year's Day is like the busiest day for Uber and Lyft, but on a busy day like that, you can make a lot of money because there's a surge, and then the people, man, a few years ago, or like last time when I was driving for Uber and Lyft, I worked on a New Year's Day or New Year's Eve. I made like $600 in like, I don't know, like 6 hours. Crazy amount of money. How fast I can make it, and it's tempting, but I need a break. So I think I'm gonna pass on that. I already made my decision. Oh, and then another thing too, which I was fortunate this Friday because I started at 3:30, and it was a long grind. But what I started with during the daytime to avoid like a lot of traffic is I was taking shorter rides. I took one from my work up to San Francisco, and then I stayed with the shorter rides. And I did that for a few hours, got up to $100, and then I started taking longer rides. Like I had like back and forth from San Francisco to South San Francisco. I had probably like 4 to 6 rides that were that long, which are good rides. And then eventually I got into like $250 around that. Once I got to that mark, I was like, and it was like 11 o'clock, I was like, you know what, I can start making my way back. So the first ride I see to Oakland, I'm gonna take it. That's what I was telling myself. And then the next ride that came in, it was to Oakland. It was like $14, but I took it. And the cool thing is when you go to Oakland from San Francisco, they charge the customer a toll, but you don't actually have to pay it. So anyways, I went to Oakland, and then I started doing rides out there, and then I ended up getting a ride to Berkeley, and I was taking rides on a Friday night. A lot of the students are taking XLs, which is good for me because they're trying to move a whole group of friends, and then I can pull out the Nintendo, and it goes well with the crowd. I got a lot of tips from people who wouldn't typically tip. If it was just a regular Uber ride, I wouldn't have gotten a tip, but I know I'm pulling out tips from these people who are just like genuinely like surprised and happy, and that's the funnest part is like when they're like genuinely like. There was this like super nerdy UC Berkeley student, and he was like what do you say? He's like they talk smart. He was like, I did not expect this juncture in my night, but it was like a surprisingly positive event or something like that. I don't know. They're just, anyways, yeah, they're just like a lot of the people really like Nintendo. But that's another thing for me to know is like Friday, Saturday night, it's a good time to drive in Berkeley because there's groups of friends who are trying to take XLs. Anyways, I'm going to keep grinding. That's the close of this week of the $1,000 challenge. That's 2 weeks in a row. That's $2,000. I'm shooting for $4,000 in a month now. That's my new goal. I know that I can do it. It's just staying motivated. And yeah, so this weekend, tomorrow, or today, Saturday, I'm going to be patching up my my REI Kingdom cot. And then yeah, then I'll get back to riding again. I have like, this is gonna be my 5th video. I might do some minor edits to this, but not much. And I was thinking about calling this series, so the YouTube channel is called Wheel Talk, but I want to call this series Rear View Reflections, because, you know, there's that song, staring at the world through my rear view, and this is kind of like me looking in the rearview mirror, reflecting on life and my circumstances. And I think that's a good title for this series, is Rear View Reflections. I could say it better. I'm actually kind of thirsty right now, thirsty and hungry, but mostly thirsty. But it'll be easier for me to say when I'm not so tired, thirsty, and hungry. Rear View Reflections. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Wheel Talk. I'll catch you guys on the next one.